Alrighty, this is my breakdown of the Resident Evil Requiem second trailer that was shown off at the Nintendo Direct. And it offered up more mystery, not really showing much, not really playing his hand, but leaving enough interesting nuggets here or there. And considering that this entire title, this entire game, is based on the fact that they want to do something similar to Seven, David Fincher's Seven, or X Files. It's going to play like this in the marketing, where you pretty much don't know fuck all until they reveal more, or they keep it close to their chest at launch and they just show you small little tidbits here and there. Capcom is very deliberate in some of the things they have been saying, but without further delay, let's get this party started and let's see what we think about the trailer itself. Also, there will be spoilers. This is a theory chat. Spoiler speculation is something I'm going to talk about that's kind of interesting later on as we go.
Hello? Yes.
Who was it?
Dunno. They asked for Miss Ashcroft and then they hung up on me.
Rude.
Alright, there's a small bit to take in for this segment. Namely speaking, this is the prologue of the game. This takes place in 2020, where Grace and Alyssa are in this building, in this hotel, probably just going to either vacation or up to something. Maybe she's searching into a case or something and she's taking a little break. I don't know the full details, but I do know that after this event where Grace's mom is presumably killed at the end of this segment, because we saw sections of this in one of the trailers they were showing where she's trying to get Grace out of the building. Grace is hyperventilating. She doesn't know what's going on. And we see this hooded figure go around and slice this guy's neck open like no tomorrow. What I'm assuming here is a couple of things. Namely, you get some nice establishing shots of the Renwood Hotel before it went all to shit and it got burnt up later on in the timeline. The main course of this game is going to take place in 2028, 30 years after the Raccoon City incident in 1998. And that's when Grace, at that point, with the 8-year time jump, she is searching for her mother's killer, and what's going on with this new disease that is breaking out. They showed this in the first initial reveal trailer of her researching, but she has a fear of going back to the Renwood Hotel, and that's where she's going to get abducted and have the IV drip, and someone's experimenting on her. Now, considering this person is looking for Grace, saying she is the chosen one, I assume they take Alyssa's body, they take her body, and they experiment on that as well. We've seen this happen before in Resident Evil. We've seen Wesker take Krauser's body or take Steve's body in order to extract some stuff out of her, you know, the daylight vaccines as well, which happened at Outbreak because Alyssa was infected with the T virus and then she took daylight as a vaccine and cured herself, and this probably passed down to Grace as a hereditary thing, and maybe it's a more potent vaccine that will heal whatever this pasty face motherfucker's going through right here. All right. um, this guy in the hood, I assume he has some ties virally to the creature that is stalking Grace right here, because as you see in the gameplay, as soon as this monster tries to enter a safe area with fluorescent lights, you will see that it is vastly affected by it. She climbs into the ceiling and then she will try to cut the lights off in that room, not making it safe anymore. There were people saying that this was Lisa Trevor. the chains, the sounds, and the placeholder sounds, which was confirmed by Nakanishi. They were placeholder sounds, therefore, the potential of this being Lisa Trevor kind of lowers if it's a placeholder sound. Lisa Trevor was the creature that was in Resident Evil 1 Remake that could stalk the player around a little bit. She was infected with the progenitor, the G virus. She was basically a giant petri dish stalker in that game. And she was defeated by Wesker in Umbrella Chronicles with a chandelier coming down on her, and then the mansion blew up. But they said Lisa is immortal. If they're tying this game back to old Resident Evil haunts, then folks are saying, "Hey, this is Lisa." They're tying this back in, and they're tying. There is no doubt that there's going to be retro returning creatures, which was confirmed already. But Lisa was never affected by fluorescent lights, to my memory at least, or heavy lighting to where it burned her. This seems like something different. This seems like something new, and maybe the hooded figure is also affected by this same virus as well. To what ends, we don't know, but the fact that he kills the lights in the motel is kind of, it's kind of telling. Like, he doesn't like lights whatsoever, and that's how he attacks people in the dark. So I'm assuming, in good faith, they are both infected with the same virus. Alright, this is the Grill 14. Now, there is a restaurant similar in fashion to the name of this. It was called the Grill 13. It was in Resident Evil Nemesis. This is when you go in here, and sometimes you can find Carlos, and then Nemesis will come, and you can either hide in the kitchen or blow him up. It's kind of funny that way. It's a lot of options you can do in here upon that meeting. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe there is some connective tissue. Maybe the citizens of Raccoon City, they got out and they decided to make this into a more established business after Grill 13. So we have Grill 14 in another section of an unknown city. There was also Miller Lite neons and things of that nature. I can't find the Reddit post because the person in question deleted it, but there was some product placement here that took inspiration from real life product placement, Miller Lite beers, Heinekens, and whatnot, and they decided to remove those, I guess, because of copyright. They decided maybe we don't want to pay the license in this particular point in time. Therefore, those signs are now gone on the restaurant.
Oh, you're FBI? Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
Alright, this is Grace returning to the crime scene after having so much trauma and PTSD of coming back here, by Nathan Dempsey saying, sometimes you gotta face your past. So you can tell the demeanor on her face is like all different and changed. It's almost like, I don't really want to be here. You could just tell, and I really love how that is being conveyed and expressed with the character. I don't want to be here, but I have to be here because it's fate. And you can see Rimwood is it's all fucked up. That is the very same room where Alyssa presumably dies.
Grace, stay close to me.
As I said, this bit is definitely the prologue of the game.
I'm coming.
Keep moving.
What's wrong?
I'll explain later.
A fascinating detail, and I kind of agree. This is not my theory, but a Reddit user said this theory. He believes that this ledger that's being hidden behind this sign right here, or this big picture, this ledger is all of the secrets that was uncovered by Alyssa about Umbrella. And now her daughter has to go find it and see what's going on. This is why she hides it in the first place. This is all her investigative journalism from the point of Resident Evil 7 to now, and maybe it has some things in there with the connections tied in, which is why they're trying to silence her at all costs, because I can buy the fact that maybe leftovers from Umbrella and maybe people from the connections are kind of pissed that all of this stuff is leaking out, and thus they send a BOW to dispose of her. Would I have hidden it in a place like that? Well, it is out of plain sight, right? It's not really out in the open, but I'm thinking to myself, considering the fire and everything, it could have burnt that, and then we would have no story of those secrets being uncovered. So it's a little bit hilarious that way when you start to think about it in that context. And you do find the ledger, but I am speculating and thinking, will that be taken off of Grace when she's all tied up and the villain now has those secrets? I'm curious to see how that's going to go.
I've been watching you.
That is Rhodes Hill, and someone is pulling up and the lights are on. This is definitely still a functioning establishment.
You're not like other people, you know.
Since it's Resident Evil, you have to speculate that, well, someone's going to leak a virus here, and you're going to see why I said that in the first place. Two reasons, actually.
Other people, you know. You're quite unique.
There's the old creepy guy that we've seen before. This mask on the table, that was not there before. Now it is. And so it's like, yeah, he's keeping his face hidden probably because he's all like fucked up with his eyesight and everything. You never know.
Tell me what's going on.
They obviously kept tabs on her the entire time, and before the guy killed the lights, he was taking pictures.
Tell me what's going on.
Something important.
That was from the gameplay trailer. I believe that's Big Mama, codename Big Mama. She jumps down and she will try to get you from that ceiling.
I'm scared.
Now this guy, I want you to pay close attention to him because it seems like there's two different antagonists that we're dealing with here that both seem to be infected.
Grace.
I know there were some folks saying this was Barry's Magnum. I just don't. I don't think it is because they have differing sights. I'm gonna show you in a bit. So here we go. This right here is the Silver Serpent, Barry's 44 Magnum. 44 Magnum, the most powerful Magnum in the world. And this is the one that Grace has. The ridges right here are not the same. It's definitely probably a Magnum of some kind, but it's not Barry's Magnum. This was a theory made by what is it, Residents of Evil, and I just, it's not the same from at least remake. I don't know about Revelations if that's the same case. It doesn't look like it to me. But either way, at least we get a Magnum in this game, and I'm quite excited to be throwing that thing around, you know, throwing them bullets. This is where the fire starts. We see that the mask guy is knocked out.
They're coming.
Grace is looking at something through glass, which I presume to be another infected, maybe. And it has similar hair to her. I don't know if they're doing like maybe some cloning experiment. That is a thing in Resident Evil. People can be cloned, and this could be the case. Or maybe it's just a big coincidence that both of them look similar. Maybe she's looking at a complete she-beast and she is absolutely astonished by what she's looking at. Like, she can't even believe it. And you can see there is zombies back in this game, and they're crazy, slamming their head into the walls. It looks eerie, it looks creepy, it looks surreal. It reminds me of those figures, those females in Evil Within 1, where they were draped in white. They looked like witches, and they are roaming around ready to kill someone. I assume these are the inmates that occupy Rhodes Hill, and they're succumbing to their zombie infection. You can see there is a mill on the table, and the virus is going through his blood, but he's severely burnt. I'm not sure if they're trying to allude to the fact that this is the hooded guy, because, I mean, he was knocked out near the fire, so maybe burns would be in that category as the virus seeps up the arm a bit. And you can also see, like, it seems like half the forearm right here is, like, glowing up in a sense. Which is interesting how this is all taking place. But that's definitely a male. I know people said, that's a female that's on the table, but no, that looks like a male to me. There is Alyssa's body. There's some slight blood on her chin. It looks like she has been stabbed. That's definitely probably a stab wound. And everything's on fire. And then we see more of the creature. Oh my god, this thing looks incredibly disgusting. There's the umbrella symbol. Now, I don't know what is going on here. This looks like a viral holder, or it looks like some type of viral sample with umbrella stuff engraved on it. It looks kind of old, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, or maybe it's just some holder of umbrella secrets.
There's no escaping your destiny.
There's no escaping your destiny. And then you have this cool, this is utterly awesome, her holding the magnum. Oh, that's a L to people who said that there's no guns that Grace uses in the game. Well, she's holding a goddamn powerhouse. I don't know what else to tell you. That's a gun for sure. Cool shot right here. Just reminds me of 7, X-Files. That shit's awesome. I love it. This is the money shot, though. Who is this guy? All right. So there was talks about Umbrella's legacy, and the fact that, well, and I pointed something out weird as well about this guy, because most people are trying to say that this is Oswell E. Spencer. That's the main speculation, is that this is a revive Oswell E. Spencer, who basically started a lot of shit in the Resident Evil timeline. One of the founders of Umbrella revived. Okay, so here's the thing. Wesker did stab this guy in the chest. So this is what I find weird. He did stab him in the chest with his hand. And now they have said via Resident Evil Village that Spencer has met Mother Miranda, who, you know, she was dabbling around with the mold, and we know the mold can regenerate people for fatal wounds. We've seen some of this before, where some people have regenerated from certain attacks. Ethan got his head stomped in by Jack Baker, and he came back from the dead, okay? So that's one thing. The scar on the chest is also not really helping and supporting the idea that this is basically not Spencer, okay? Because he was stabbed. And then there is this lettering here, or these numbers, where it looks like it says 06. And we know in 06 is when Lost in Nightmares happened. This is just my big brain speculation. I don't know what the headgear is for, or what it does, but this guy is also clearly very old as well, and I don't know if he has like these weird gold finger teeth or or something like that. I don't know what's really going on there, but this guy and this guy are radically different. I've noticed that they are not the same individual, these two. Imagine if this is crazy, that this game, the villains of this game, imagine if it was a revived Oswell E. Spencer and a revived Wesker under Spencer's control, and they team up. You know, it's fucking dumb, it's fucking crazy, but dude, just imagine something like that. That would be absolutely insane. if that happened. And those two, they have a lot of history with Umbrella. It's like, and they're back from the dead, and Requiem, and as a bigger name in the title, Requiem is a supposed mourning of the dead with the raccoon thing and whatnot. Them going back to the city. Imagine if that shit happens. I would go absolutely crazy. It'd be dumb, but it'd be crazy. These two are definitely not the same though. It just doesn't. They don't look the same. Definitely. Which is probably why they showed this guy to begin with, highlighting more of the enemies, more of the antagonists coming into the equation. Now, we gotta get to the meat and potatoes of the leaked image that we saw. Okay. And this is all supposedly in Japanese. It's talking about just the realism of the game and everything. Now, I do believe this image is fake. I do. And it shows a supposed Leon S. Kennedy with an eye patch and a two-headed deformed liquor, which is an evolution of the liquor. And then they show a zombie in an RPD outfit, and he's clearly like emaciated and hasn't eaten in like 30 years, whatever. Okay. I'm going to call fake on the principle of why isn't the zombie's clothes like tattered? There's no way that it would be like from 30 something years ago, and it's just not walking around like fucking naked at this point. All right. So that's the first thing. But if this is a fake, it is very convincing with Leon, because I like that. I like this look for the character because it signifies a couple of things. I know people were making jokes saying it's Metal Gear Kennedy, and look, that's funny, to say, oh, it's just Big Boss and whatnot, right? But the reason why I like this so much, even if it's fake, is simply because number one, they're showing battle damage on the characters more outwardly. It's like now we're seeing organs lost, possible limbs lost after fighting BOWs for almost like fucking 30 years almost. And we're starting to see the ramifications of that. This is why I like it so much, because it screams hardened survivor. Um, where it's like now my eye is gone after doing all of this in this big situation, so, and I'm still fighting this war even though I'm losing pieces of myself. I think that's very cool. If they went down this route, if they used something equivalent to this, I would like it. Honestly, I would have no issue with it whatsoever. I heard people say it's edgy, it's dumb, and that's fine. You can have your thought process on that and say that way, but I enjoy it. Like, if this is a fake, this is a fake that I actually pretty much like and appreciate, to be honest. I know people are saying, oh, Leon's, this is too old, and he doesn't look too old to me. This seems like a 50-year-old and how he would look. It kind of looks like Norman Reedus, in my personal opinion. So, Daryl Dixon in Resident Evil, I don't know. But I think this is an ideal look either way, and if it's a fake, it's a damn good fake, because it had me completely fooled. But we do live in the AI era, so I do have to take that into account. People like the AI stuff and make stuff up, so I gotta take it as fake. The two-headed liquor, though, is interesting. I hope that does happen as well in the game, because that'd be pretty cool to see. Like, that'll, I don't hate these two images right here. The one on the left, the two-headed liquor, and the one down the bottom with Leon. I think that would be perfect for older Leon and evolution of liquors. Like, it's no problem whatsoever. And then people also alluded to the fact that Leon did have the eye patch pirate outfit from Resident Evil 6. The same eye was gone and whatnot. People were linking that Nick Apostolides had pose for a short movie, and he's wearing an eye patch on the same eye. So there's those big conspiracies out there. I want it to be true, and I definitely want Leon to be in this game for sure, but we just don't know yet. But I will say this, Nakanishi just does not give a fuck, because in every interview he talks up Leon a lot, and I do believe the reveal is coming, is impending. This is him talking about, oh, Grace and her first time in the world of Resident Evil. This is her first time. For example, Leon gets a green herb and says, yes, as if it's the most natural thing in the world, but there's a green herb in this demo, and Grace has a completely different reaction saying, oh, I guess I'll keep that just in case. Which is, again, he's talking very candidly and positively about Leon the character. He said before that before picking Grace, they were going to have Leon be the main character, but they didn't say anything about him not being a secondary playable protagonist in the game. So I don't think that Leon is completely deconfirmed, and the fact that they deconfirmed Chris so easily in this game, but not Leon saying, well, we're not here to talk about him. I'm sorry. That just brings off some alarm bell to me that I think Leon's going to be focal in the second section of the game, which is the Raccoon City element of it. And it's going to make sense. That's like the Metal Gear Solid 4 Resident Evil, going back to an old haunt like you did with Shadow Moses, and now you have it with this game, and you have a legacy character who's been there, ground zero, experiencing all of this stuff. And I don't want Grace's story to be undervalued at all. I think she should be very important, but I don't mind the two playable character dynamic, or seeing it from two different perspectives and they're hiding the other one. That would be cool. That would bring more replay value to the game, as does the notion that we have third person and first person, and it has different animations and different types of scares. That's what I want to see done for this game. We know for sure that Umbrella's legacy, all of this is going to tie back in, and like I said, Oswald is a part of it. I definitely see him getting referenced. There was something on this Reddit that had this note that caught my eye a bit. Now my life stands on the edge of a knife. The only person I can trust is my loyal butler, Patrick. And this guy said maybe it is Patrick. Patrick might still be alive or something like that. I don't know, but I feel like revival would be a lot more shocking, and of course it would lean into the fact that yes, this is where the history of Umbrella is going to decay back again, back in the ruins of Raccoon City. I think this is the end of bringing up this organization in the timeline. This is the one thing I will agree with Dusk Golem on, despite his whole epithets of being wrong in certain situations and not admitting it. But this is the one thing I will believe him on, is that Requiem is going to be the game that ties up all this government conspiracy bullshit with Umbrella. It all comes to light, it all gets revealed right here and now, and they finally wrap all that up and move on to what is probably going to be a bigger plot thread elsewhere, of talking about Chris and Jill and the BSA corruption, which could use its own game, Resident Evil 10, but I think that's what's going to happen, and then they'll move on to isolated incidents, focusing on stuff they want to focus on, because I personally do believe that Capcom is getting to the point where they know the Resident Evil timeline, the lore, and the whole everything to this point is getting really, really, really big, and it's gonna be time for the soft reset, so to speak, before they move on to like another plot thread that's really important with maybe these new characters they're setting up, like Grace or Rose. Until then, that's my breakdown. That's all my speculation and theories so far. We have Tokyo Game Show to get to with Resident Evil, and on the 27th, they're going to hold a panel for RE. There's also a proposed state of play. There's a PS4 version that's ready to be announced that we have not seen yet. And when they show the next trailer, I think that's going to be the reveal of the RPD section and segments, and pulling the curtain, so to speak, pulling up the veil and seeing all of that. And hopefully we see a legacy character where there's going to be a lot more to talk about in that trailer, whether it's revealed at the state of play or TGS. And I will be on top of it for sure. Hopefully you guys have liked these breakdowns of me talking about Requiem so far, and you take care of yourselves. Don't let the evil consume you. Later.